Greetings, fam. Welcome again to Commit Renewal, fam. We are outdoors today, fam. Just for the change of environment, fam. You're probably wondering, fam, why am I wearing the on-field soldier's uniform, fam? Today, fam, I wanna talk about the spiritual warfare, fam, or the psychological warfare that we are currently in, fam. And I would like to also welcome abantwana besimboni, abantwana Ukhanyo, which is the TRSH youth. I welcome you all to Commit Renewal, fam. Hopefully you're gonna understand more of Izambulo by having the understanding of this ancient knowledge that I will be sharing on this channel. Today's video, fam, is basically based on spiritual warfare, which is why I'm on soldier's uniform also, fam, because we are in the middle of a spiritual warfare, fam, and spiritual warfare is real, fam. Do you understand? When you are talking of spiritual warfare, we're not just talking of something that's fabricated or something that's fantasized. This is not some myth or something like that, fam. This is something that's real, fam. And the reason, fam, I'm also kind of like inviting abantwana besithunywa today in today's video, fam, is because of Isambulo that Igogo shared last week, because of this thing of a zombie, people becoming a zombie and the birth of a zombie. We need to understand, fam, that's not something that's gonna happen, fam, in the coming future or in the near future. This is something, fam, that's already in the process, fam. Do you understand? This is why, fam, you all need to understand this spiritual awakening that's happening. You understand? This is why you all need to understand the essence of Isambulo, because we need to understand, fam, that in order for one to be a zombie, do you understand? In order for one to be a zombie, that means that happens whereby the spiritual eye, is not awakened. That happens whereby the light of the mind is shut down, meaning the brain is dead. Meaning the brain is dead. It's no longer like living, which is what the system is promoting, which is what the system is trying to kind of like put us under, which is the spell of the system. Do you understand? This is not something that's going to happen in the future, fam. This is something that's happening now. So how is this tied with the spiritual awakening and everything? So you need to understand, fam, if you fail to attain the spiritual self, if you fail to connect with who you are and what you are, you're going to be the victim of the system. Do you understand? Because we need to understand, fam, that this spiritual awakening, there are certain things that we are awakening within ourselves. These are the things that we need. You see? So when we are talking about spiritual warfare, fam, we need to understand that this spiritual warfare is not just something that's happening to certain individuals. This is a microcosm of something that's happening to the entire universe, the entire cosmos. As we know now that we are in the middle of spiritual awakening, there are forces, the opposite forces that are trying to block and keep people from their matrix of control. Do you understand? So we need to understand that when we are talking of spiritual warfare, we are talking about this liberation of people, the spiritual liberation, the psychological liberation, emotional liberation. Do you understand? But there are forces of those that are kind of like the enemy of humanity, which are trying to block, you understand, this revolution from happening. So we need to understand, fam, that we're not only kind of like out here, fam, doing these things because we have time. It's even hard to even actually come out doing this thing, because it's not something we are jumpy about, you know. So as I said, that fam, we need to understand that us as a people, fam, we're not only enslaved physically, you know. The enslavement, fam, was also spiritually. The enslavement, fam, was also psychologically. But in order for one to truly comprehend and understand all this that's being said now, one must first understand the origin of what's called religion, the system, the supremacy, the European culture, you know, its purpose and how it was implemented into the native people, so that one can understand now what it is that we're talking about. We're talking about the liberation, the psychological liberation and the spiritual liberation, you know, because we need to understand that there are still a lot of people that are still trapped by religion, you know, trapped by culture, traditions, because all these things that we are practicing, most of them are kind of like Eurocentric. Do you understand? So now it's more like the revival. It's more like the rebirth of African consciousness, of African black consciousness, which is our African thoughts, our African perspectives, you know, our African values, costumes, and everything. Do you understand? So we're in that spiritual warfare now, whereby now a lot of people are trying to break free from the world of the matrix. People are trying to break free from the world of control, the world of Maya, the world of illusion, which is not only something that is physical, which is also something that is psychological, because spiritually people are still trapped. That's why a lot of people cannot understand this transformation that we are talking about that's happening. That's why a lot of people cannot understand this all these inner changes, all this ascension. To certain people, these are just words. Do you understand? Because they're not actually connected to their root. They're not actually connected to the source of who they are. Do you understand? And we know one of the major forces that's preventing us from that true connection, from that divine connection, is religion. Also culture and traditions also. Do you understand? So this is the spiritual warfare that we're currently in now, because we are kind of like liberating ourselves from all those kind of things, freeing ourselves from all those kind of things. Do you understand? Because now, it's about time that people actually kind of like own their thoughts. Do you understand? That's why now you will see that with all this thing, with all these advancements of technology, for instance, you see, a lot of people are losing their moral of humanity. Morals will be lost, are being lost actually. That's why we have a lot of inorganic things that are being promoted by the system, like homosexuality, for instance, you know, which is something that's out of nature. You know, we have cloning today, that's happening, you know, we have the 3D prints, you know, because now the AI now they're trying to use the AI now to act God, to have control over everything. Because you need to understand that once they put a microchip in your body, it's more like putting a chip in a bigger computer, because your body itself is like a computer, because the brains are also electromagnetic. Do you understand? So they're gonna be able to hack you. They're gonna be able to control you remotely. You see, not all your thoughts now will be naturally. Not all your thoughts will be arriving from the or emanating from the source, from the divine. Do you understand? So we need to understand, that we're in the era now of psychological liberation and spiritual liberation, which is the true liberation of the black man. Because we need to understand that as native people, fam, this economic freedom alone is not the actual freedom that we need. Yes, we need economic freedom. Do you understand? But we need to understand, fam, that that is something that's been dealt with all these years. But one thing that's always missing is the spiritual freedom, which is the essence of who we are. We are spiritual beings, fam. When we're talking of spirituality, we need to stop taking spirituality religiously. Spirituality is the essence of who we are. It's the essence of who we are. It's the essence of our lives, the essence of our nature. We are spiritual beings. So now, with this spiritual warfare now, the technology, the system with this technology is trying to take away the spiritual essence of us. Hence, Ikoko was talking about this thing of zombies. Because if you don't have the spirit, do you understand? If you're not connected to the spirit, obviously you are a zombie. That's why you're going to be a victim of all these diseases that are still coming, for instance. Because you need to understand, fam, if you think something has happened, fam, there's a lot more to happen, fam. This is the beginning of something major, fam. We are in the middle of something big, fam. That's why we need to be focused. Those that are sent to preach the truth and shed the light, we need to focus on our journey. We need to respect our path. Do you understand? It is time, fam, for all those who share the common vision of liberating our people. Not just, fam, sharing this vision in terms of sentimental emotionalism. I'm talking about those that share the conviction, the deep conviction from within, fam. I'm talking about those that have done all the sacrifices they can do for this path. It is time that we come together, fam, and join forces and stop having this worldly mentality of having competition amongst each other. We need to understand, fam, that this is not time of competition. This is about time combine our works. Because we need to understand, fam, this is not something that we are doing just with our human intellect. Do you understand? Hence, fam, some of us, like Kemet Renewal, for instance, Kemet Renewal now, fam, we are currently like engaging ourselves. I'm engaging myself with big institutions like TRSH institution, because I need to share this ancient knowledge with Isambulo, because there are a lot of inspirations that I get from Isambulo spiritually that relate with this ancient knowledge. You see, Isambulo, for instance, relates with my journey. It is intertwined. Do you understand? That's why I'm even inviting the youth especially, because we need to understand, fam, that the youth, we are the ones that are kind of like carrying all these sacred gifts. There are a lot of things that are embodied within us as the youth of this nation and of this time and era. You understand? We need to understand that, fam, this thing of spirituality, fam, is not just something that must be seen in terms of religion or culture or tradition. Yes, in terms of teachings and everything, fam, it's not a matter of taking away all your culture or traditions and everything, but it's a matter of understanding, having clearer understanding, of even having light to understand the actual essence and meaning of your own traditions also. You understand? Because we need to understand, fam, that spirituality has different practices. It's unlike religion. It's not a set of rules and regulations. Do you understand? It's broad. Do you understand? But we need to understand that there are common things spiritually that put us together. Now it's about time that we find those things You see, because this is a matter of creating a bigger fire, fam. You see, so each and every individual, fam, must come together with their little flame and make the bigger flame. You see, so let's understand, fam, that spirituality, fam, is not something to play with, fam. This era we are in, fam, is an era of enlightenment and yet an era of confusion. There's a lot of confusion going on, fam, and a lot of misinformation that's out there, you know. So we need to be vigilant about these things, fam. We need to meditate upon these things, especially the youth. Us, the youth, we are in danger, fam. We are the target youth. We need to understand that everything that's happening, fam, is directed to us because we are the future. But are we really are the future though? You see, so we need to understand, fam, that there are a lot of psychological things that are happening, fam. You see, and it's us that can better clarify, you know, and do all the necessary meditations, studying, research, and everything. Because we are the youth that's exposed to all these things. We are the ones that are exposed to all these things. We are the ones that need to live tomorrow. That's why sometimes I find it selfish for certain elders not allowing their youth to embark in this journey of spiritual enlightenment and the search and knowledge and the revival of African consciousness, black consciousness. Because we need to understand, fam, that a lot of people have invested almost all their lives in this lie and deception and all this metrics and control and system of religion. You see, they've invested a lot of their energy there to such an extent that when talks like these are brought up, they feel like they are under attack. But well, fam, if the truth don't make you comfortable, don't blame the truth, blame the lies that make you comfortable. Because now, fam, we need to understand that in order to grow, fam, we need to tell the truth as it is. You see, so now as the youth, it's us that are being targeted because the enemy knows that there's something sacred about the youth of this generation. Do you understand? So it is time, fam, now that we focus on our own intuitions, listen more to our own inner voices. It is time, fam, that we pay more attention to all these instincts, intuitions, senses. Don't ignore your senses, fam. I know the society is crazy and sick. You know, the society is sick to such an extent that when you start having all these experiences, they're gonna regard you or label you as being crazy. But you need to understand, fam, that this is something that is happening by nature. Nature works through us. Nature works in us. We are nature. And also, this kind of like puts clarity to this saying of God's people or natural people or all those kind of forth. Because those that I would regard as God's people now are those that are having all these natural transformations. Because nature herself is transforming. Do you understand? Mother Nature herself is undergoing a process of awakening, a process of rebirth, which is why all those that have got that electromagnetic umbilical cord with the divine womb, with the divine Mother Nature, are also having all these spiritual awakenings and all these spiritual transformations that are happening within themselves. because they are connected. And we need to understand, fam, that the enemy knows that the native people are connected to the divine. African people are directly connected to the divine Mother Nature. This is one of the things the enemy is trying to block and disconnect. This is what they're veiling you from. Do you understand? Because once you know these kind of things about yourself, you will no longer have to have faith now, blind faith, because you'll be knowing yourself, knowing who you are, knowing your root, knowing your connection with the divine. Do you understand? That's why now there are a lot of people, especially the youth, that is manifesting a lot of things that I would say were never seen before by this living generation, but there's nothing new under the sun. It's because, fam, we are awakening all these things that have been sleeping now in our ancient DNA. These are all things that are in our ancient pre-remembrance. All this knowledge and information is something that's within our own selves. It's awakening now because it's the time that we need to apply it now. We need to understand, fam, that as much as we understand that it's the change of an era, this change of an era goes with the change of a state of consciousness. So the state of consciousness now is also changing. So if you don't evolve now to your higher state of consciousness, you're gonna remain and get trapped, and it might well as you might as well even be one of those people that might turn into zombies. Because we will see zombies, fam, in our lives. This is gonna happen, fam. This is something that is already in process. That's why we have these drugs now, like trank. Check the trank, for instance, the new drug. You see, and we need to understand, fam, as much as we can have ordinary people selling these drugs are not manufactured by these people that are selling the drugs. Who is manufacturing the drugs? You see, this is how they're using science. Instead of using science to better manifest reality, you know, to kind of like better improve the spiritual beings, they are instead using science to cut the connections of the spiritual beings with the divine. You know, they're using this science to distract people, which is why a lot of people are concerned with this technology, because subconsciously people can see that there's something wrong with the way this technology is about to be used, because now they're trying to take away the essence of spirituality. That's why Gogo was saying the future generation, we're going to have a generation in the future that will not be having the essence of Ubuntu. You see? Which is not something that's just going to happen, fam. We need to see, fam, how these things have been fabricated. We need to understand, fam, this is all the part of the New World Order. You know, because the system believes that there's a lot of population to maintain their new digital world. You see, that's why now they feel they have to depopulate the people. But now, those that are spiritual, fam, because once you're spiritual awakened, once you awaken your spiritual self and tune with your spiritual divine higher self, once you attain the higher state of consciousness, you no longer need to live dependent now onto the system. You can live off grid, because you'll be having all those natural abilities. You see, because we need to understand, fam, that there's a lot of changing, fam, there's a lot of change and changes that are happening and that are yet to happen, fam. There are a lot of things, fam, that are about to happen that I can't even share to you all right now, because not everyone is even ready for these things, you know. So we need to stop putting trust to other individuals, fam. We need to start tuning within our own self, putting trust within our own selves. No outside forces, fam, are gonna help you with this in this spiritual warfare that we are faced with. We need to understand, fam, that your knowledge of self, knowledge of your own history, truth, is what will set you free. Knowing of who you are, knowledge of who you are, where you come from, how do you connect with your roots? Do you understand? How do you practice your own true African spirituality, the one that connects you with true divine powers? These are the kind of truths and knowledge that we need to awaken to, fam, because we need to be able to practice these things, fam. We need to be able to put these things into practice. Do you understand? Because sooner or later, fam, the system will reveal that it is the enemy, as it always has been. Do you understand? We need to be aware, fam. We need to be careful, fam. Do you understand? I will make another video, fam, whereby I will be going deeper into this thing of spiritual warfare. You see, because I don't want to make long videos no more now, fam, because this thing of making long videos, a lot of people tend to lose the content of what's being said. So for now, fam, I hope you all, fam, are kind of like tuned and kind of like having all that fire within y'all. I hope that fire is burning, fam. I hope you're having all those intuitions to follow your own inner voices. I hope you all kind of like tuned more and more to the divine cosmic energies and frequencies. Do you understand? Because it is happening, fam. Spiritual warfare is real, fam. And if you don't allow your spirituality to lead, your own ancient African spirituality to lead, you're gonna be in trouble, fam. And this is not a way of raising fear. This is just reality, fam, of what's happening now, fam. So I hope you all have a good day, fam. For now, Sli Langa Teuti, give thanks, fam.